Hello and welcome to the special edition of Flosstube, hosted by all these familiar faces that you see. I'm Jean Ferris from Jean Ferris Needleworks.
Michelle G, Bendy Stitchy.
I'm EJ from the Sunshine Stitchers.
And I'm Shelia from the Sunshine Stitchers.
And the reason that we are all together here tonight doing this via Zoom is that we are the host of the upcoming 2025 Flosstube at Sea cruise. Now, this is our second year. 2024, Michelle was one of our co-hosts. Shelia and EJ are joining us for 2025. And I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your excitement level?
20.
13.
Yeah, sort of off the scale.
Excited.
I mean, honestly, I don't know about you, Michelle, but it's like I got off the ship wanting to turn around and get right back on and do it again. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I was waiting to get off the ship, planning how am I going to get back again next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, we had a lot of excited people. Just some statistics. We had 101 people in our group altogether. 74 of them were what we call stitcher makers. And that's probably a good place for us to begin. Michelle, you want to kind of describe what we mean by a stitcher maker?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a meeting place on the ship that we sailed on. We sailed on the Celebrity Ascent. This coming year, it will be a different ship, the Apex. The Celebrity Apex. What these two ships have in common is that there is what they call a meeting place. And it was on the 4th deck. Mm-hmm. And I'm still getting all my ship terms correct, so forgive me, it was my first cruise. It was on the 4th deck, and one whole wall of the meeting place had windows. So we had this beautiful natural light, and we had a home base. So it was like a land-based retreat in that you have a home base that you can always come to. And we had it open 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day on the ship, just for us. They put a little sign out front that said reserved for Flosstube at Sea. And we called it the Stitcher Maker Place. So 74 of us who were part of the Stitcher Maker group were able to access that room at any time. You could stitch, you could chat, you could do whatever you wanted. And then the people who brought companions on the cruise, friends, spouses, whatever, they didn't necessarily have access to the Stitcher Maker Place, but they sure did. They poked their heads and said, hey, can I get my person? It's time for lunch. So it was really nice to have a place where you could always go. You didn't always have to be there. You were free to explore the ship. So it was a good balance.
And we call them Stitcher Makers because initially we thought, well, everybody's a stitcher, but their roommate, their cabin mate might be a knitter or a quilter. And in order for them to hang out with their cabin mate, who is the stitcher, we use that designation. So we had people who were sitting there knitting, crocheting, making yo-yos if they were into quilting.
Yep.
Wow.
And some of those makers ended up trying their hand at cross stitch before the week was over.
Yep. We had a couple converts.
Yeah. So that was a way of roommates being able to spend quality time together. Mm-hmm. And again, so from the get-go, one of the things we want to emphasize is if you want access to that Stitcher Maker place, you need to register as a Stitcher Maker. Shelia, I know this will be your first cruise on Celebrity.
No, actually my second cruise on Celebrity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how about you, EJ? You're first. Okay. Yeah. So the Apex is a sister ship to the Ascent that we were just on. Mm-hmm. It's what they call an Edge class ship. Mm-hmm. So many of the features that we were totally enthralled with on Ascent, we will also get to enjoy on Apex.
Got it.
And one of those things is the cabin types. So if you go to the website, and I'll put the web address up on the screen, and we'll put it in our descriptions. On the website, we've got a list of all the different cabin types and the fares, and they're listed as a Stitcher Maker fare and a non-Stitcher Maker fare. And so yeah, so that's one thing we need to point out about that. So our cabin types are interior, which means that they don't have a
Access
window,
Yeah.
right, or access to outside.
Mhm.
Ocean view, which means they have some sort of a window, but not a balcony. And I saw pictures of one person's, I think Joanne posted some nice photos.
It was
And her
Joanne.
window was almost like a window seat.
It was the window was big enough that she sat in the window to take the picture. So
Right.
it was a decent size
Yeah. Now
window.
I don't know. I can't say that all of the
Correct.
Ocean View have that feature, but hers did, which was
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
And then we have the infinite balcony, and this is different from a regular balcony. And I think I'll insert some photos here. It can be closed off from your cabin with French doors that will fold back into the side walls.
Mhm.
And
Oh.
then
Very fancy.
the window part of it is all acrylic or whatever it's made of. And at the midpoint, the upper part can be raised. So if you wanted fresh air, you could have that part open. But at night, we had that part closed. We left the French doors open. We were careful that if we were coming into port the next day, we
Mhm.
put the shade down.
Right.
That
The light.
that has surprised more than one cruiser on ships when they like you go to sleep and you're looking at this nightscape. You're every once in a while seeing another cruise ship go by, and suddenly you wake up and there are people looking into your balcony. So we were careful about that. And then there's the concierge class, which is the same type of cabin, but has some additional amenities and services. And I have to look at the website real fast. I think, do we have another? Oh, we
Oh,
also have
we have
sky suites that have a
Sky
veranda.
Suite, Celebrity Suite,
And
and
we-
Royal Suite.
Yeah,
I don't know
Yeah.
what those look like because we didn't have that room.
right.
They sound very
Yeah.
nice.
So we have something for everybody's budget,
Mhm.
everybody's taste.
Okay, so let's talk about when is the cruise and where are we going?
All right. I know that we are leaving. It's a 7-day cruise, Saturday to Saturday, January 25th to February 2nd. So once again, January 25th, February 2nd. It's a perfect week, right?
Yep.
there. 7
Yep.
days. We have
Yeah.
3 sea days. And within the sea days, we're going to have presentations and teaching surprise.
Yeah.
And then we also have 3 port of calls: St. Kitts, Tortola, and Puerto de Playa.
Dominican Republic.
Exciting.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. Now that repeats 2 of those ports we enjoyed in 2024.
Mhm.
And St. Kitts, when I planned these cruises, I said, I don't care where we go, but we're going to St. Kitts. Because that's where Romney Manor is, and that's where we went to a batik workshop, gorgeous gardens. It was just, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a fabulous experience. I mean, Michelle, what did you think?
It was absolutely incredible. They took us at Romney Manor. It's an old sugar plantation, and it's been repurposed now to a batik workshop and rum distillery and botanical gardens, like and. So we took this great drive across St. Kitts, and our drivers were amazing. They were sightseeing us, and then we went behind the scenes at Romney Manor for the batik dyeing. We got to actually dye little handkerchiefs. The whole process, they explained it to us. It was so cool. And then you go out the back. Well, you shop. You shop. There was a lot of shopping. And then you go out the back, and there's this lanai that overlooks the grounds. And it's like my only complaint, and I hear Jean is gonna rectify this for us this year, not enough time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
If we
we
had
got-
more time, we could have they'll do a tour for you, and like you can see all the plants, and but we just kind of, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, we already, we're definitely going to expand that whole concept and make great even greater, right, for 2025. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then we'll go back to Tortola, Shelia. Have you been to Tortola?
Yes, but many, many years ago. I have no memory, clear memory, but I love Caribbean islands.
Mhm.
Each one has such a unique history. Tortola, of course, is legendary for all of the pirates back in the day, and it's just an interesting island. It just has a really good history. The melding of cultures
Mhm.
that have come together to create a very dynamic society today.
Right. Plus, you have white sand and turquoise water. See, I wore my turquoise sweater today. I was
And
going to wear
it's
something very
warm.
Caribbean, but it's too cold.
It's freezing.
Yeah.
It's so cold.
Yeah,
But
we're cold.
you're in Florida.
I
I
know.
know.
But they're in
It's been
sweatshirts. It
cold.
must
But
be cold.
I will tell you, that was one of the things. We had so many people who were coming from Michigan and upstate New York and the maritime provinces of Canada and other places of Canada, from all these cold places that could not wait to get to the Caribbean. And we had splendid weather.
Yeah.
Rained a little bit as we left Fort Lauderdale, but the
Mhm.
rest of it was gorgeous.
Just like
Yeah.
Absolutely.
EJ said, it's the perfect week.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, it really was. So, well, you went to the beach in Tortola, didn't you?
I did. I did. I went to the beach in Tortola. It was about a 3-hour tour, which was just enough time for me at the beach. We spent, 45 minutes floating around in the ocean. We saw a stingray.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
It was so a stingray with a little fish riding on its
Mhm.
back. It was so great. But now Shelia has me thinking because the cruise and we booked that excursion through Celebrity. And now Shelia has me thinking they do have a lot of really great excursions that you can get a guided tour around Tortola and learn its history, driving or walking.
Right.
And I
nice.
think
Mhm.
I might do one of those next year because
Yeah.
I want to learn
Yeah.
more. Like the beach was great, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. But I think learning more about the place where I am would be even better.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of them have, like I say, a wonderful blend of history of the indigenous people, the
Mhm.
Spanish, the French, the
Mhm.
Dutch explorers.
Mhm.
Just the food and the music and the culture are just you have to experience it to really know what it's going to be like.
Yes.
Um, so that's also a good. I'm glad you brought that up that you made those plans
Oh yeah.
through the cruise line because um, the only group excursion we will plan will be for Saints Kitts. The other two ports of call. Each time I just got off and walked around for an hour and a half or 2 hours and got back on the ship and started stitching. Uh, but other people took an all day thing, depending on your activity level. There's zip lines, there's snorkeling, there's sailing, there's horseback riding. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So you can really um, get into the cultural part of it, but you can also enjoy, an outdoor type activity,
Mhm.
depending on what you want to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Um,
and you can do some of those excursions with the people that you've met,
Yes.
that
Correct.
you're meeting
yes,
for the first
yeah.
time. Yeah, so
Um,
that works.
so this is another difference, EJ. I'm glad that you brought that up. This is another difference between 2024. We started in Fort Lauderdale. We had one sea day and went to San Juan.
Mhm.
2025, we have 2 sea days.
Mhm.
Then we have St. Kitts, which will be a group activity. So by the time you get to these other ports of call, you've already spent 3 or 4 days with your new best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and compared to like if most weekend retreats are 3 days. So it's like that point, it's like you've finished a weekend retreat and now you've gotten to know these new people.
Mhm.
And even if you don't make excursion plans before the cruise, you can also make them when you get on the ship as
I
well.
was going to say that a lot of times people wait to make their excursion plans when they get on board and they have a chance to talk to the other people that they're traveling with, gauge interest, and the
Mhm.
variety of excursions. And I'm sure um, on my previous cruise it was like this. If you're a foodie and you like to experience foods in other countries, they'll have excursions that will allow you to sample some of the foods in other countries. And I am sure there will be at least one rum distillery.
There was a rum tour.
Yes.
Well, and by the way, the other thing that we do is we have a Facebook group. We haven't set it up yet, but we'll set it up a couple weeks after registration opens. That's exclusive to people actually coming on this cruise. And that's another opportunity to get to know people before you even get on the ship. We had people who may have been flying out of the same airport and found out they were on the same flights, people that they had not met before. And so they kind of were able to connect before they even got to Fort Lauderdale. And that was especially nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Ride shares and hotel shares and
right. Yeah. So we're really all about this being an opportunity for people to find their tribe.
Yes.
So many people stitch alone.
Yes.
They don't have a local needlework shop. We had a couple of people who had never been to retreats that came on our cruise with us. So we did tell them that we've set the bar high because you know, doing a 7-day floating retreat on a ship like Ascent, you know, is, you know, unlike any other hotel retreat you're ever going to go to.
Absolutely.
But speaking of local needlework shops, EJ and Shelia, I know that you can talk about Cross Stitch Cupboard. We definitely will include a pre-cruise shop visit. Let's see, this time since we're leaving on a Saturday, we'll probably have to do it on Friday. We'll work that out with Karen as we're going along. But so what do you think?
I think that was wonderful. Now, we both were at the Cross Stitch Cupboard this year on Saturday when cruisers came in and
When we invaded.
Yes.
Yeah.
we're hosted beautifully.
Oh,
We
yeah.
might have invaded, but y'all were so welcoming and beautiful, and the little sandwiches.
It was a wonderful time. It really was, meeting everybody, talking to people. Folks were looking at all the different charts and fabric and flosses and kitting projects that they wanted to take. And it was just an incredibly exciting afternoon, people meeting each other for the first time. I because of the Facebook group, they knew names, and now they were able to put faces to names. And where else but a better place than to do that in a cross stitch store?
Absolutely.
So it was just a wonderful afternoon. And the cross stitch store, Karen Owen is the owner, has been in business for well over 40 years, almost 44 years.
Yes, since 1981.
Yes.
That
So
40 years ago?
Yes, EJ, yes.
Yes.
1981 was
Yeah.
43
Now,
years ago.
EJ, I know that because I started my business in 1981. Karen and I met at a trade show the first year we were both in business.
Oh,
That's how long we've been friends.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a wonderful time. And what makes great sense about that is that when you cruise, you definitely want to plan to arrive in your departure city the day before. So this was a wonderful extra reason to come in to Fort Lauderdale and spend some time at a cross stitch store, a local needlework store.
And that's a perfect segue. I'm writing myself a note here. Group hotel. Last year we did not have a group hotel, and I think that made some people a little bit nervous. We don't have plans to do it again, and let me tell you why. Fort Lauderdale is a wonderful host to cruises. The airport and the cruise port are about a mile apart. I mean, they couldn't be any closer to each other.
Correct.
And nestled in between them are hotels of every price range, every brand. So if you have loyalty points with a particular hotel, that's probably where you're going to want to stay, either to use your points or to gain more points.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
Plus, every one of these hotels has a shuttle from the hotel to the ship.
mhm,
So there really is like, normally we do a group hotel in a city that is not so accommodating to cruisers, where we might have to arrange a shuttle bus to get us from our hotel to the ship. But that's not the case. And like I say, a couple people I think were a little nervous about that. But between the Facebook group, once we were on the ship, Michelle, I didn't hear anybody saying anything negative about that.
No, I didn't hear anybody. I personally talked to people who were staying at 7 different hotels prior, and I know there were more than that, and every single one of them had a shuttle that left their hotel every 15 minutes the
mhm.
morning that we disembarked or that we
Right,
embarked to
Symbol.
get
Mhm,
from their hotel to the cruise. And all you
mhm.
had
right,
to do was call down and get a spot on the like everybody had a super easy time that I
right,
spoke with.
right.
And when
So,
in doubt, like when you would make your reservation, you would ask them, do you
Ask
have
them.
right,
from
Right.
the
right.
airport or
Yep.
no?
So like I say, I mean, Fort Lauderdale, they do cruise business right. They
Yes,
they have it down to a science, and there's just no sense in us reinventing the wheel, as they say.
yes.
So we do share, just general information. And again, the Facebook group was a great way for people to connect and say, I'm staying at such and such a hotel. Anybody else staying there? Or somebody saying, I found such and such a price at a hotel. Has anybody found a better price? So people were very, cross stitchers are just very helpful people.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
so that just didn't seem to be any kind of an issue at all. Um, we've mentioned Fort Lauderdale a dozen times now. That is where we're sailing from.
mhm.
Um, you do have to, when you're making your flight arrangements, it's very easy to look at a map and say, well, Fort Lauderdale and Miami are very close to each other, and they are. Um,
Look at EJ's eyes.
so, and
Traffic.
if you got a great price flying into Miami, fine, but just realize you need to make your way to Fort Lauderdale.
Yes,
I've heard more than one horror story of people not finding their ship
yes.
docked in the city that they were
Mm,
in, and
yeah,
were quite surprised and did not have time to get to the other city.
yeah.
That said, if you're flying in on the day of, Celebrity does make arrangements to shuttle you from both the Miami airport and the Fort Lauderdale airport to the ship. So that's another alternative. And let me also say, and I don't make any money from this, so my endorsement comes purely from a practical reason. If you're going to fly in the day the ship leaves, I encourage you to make your reservations through the cruise line. They have a service they call Air to Sea, Air number 2C. Um, and they give, I think that they give good prices, and in fact, they have somewhat of price guarantee. But the beautiful thing is, if you have a flight delay, they will get you to the ship
Mhm,
if you make your reservations air to sea.
mhm,
So just keep that in mind.
mhm.
And they also offer that same shuttle service from the ship back to the airport at the end of the cruise.
Mhm.
So, and that's especially nice if you find yourself with a 7 or 8 o'clock PM departure. What are you going to do for the day? So they have excursions, like
Mhm.
you might go to the Everglades or something like that, that they will get you and your luggage to the airport on time for your flight. So
Yeah.
these are just on really nice ways that they take care of their cruise passengers.
I just want to mention that if you have not cruised before and have kind of thought about it, but a little hesitant to jump out there, this is a great opportunity because you are kind of within a system of care,
Mhm.
if you will, because you're part of a group. Uh, and again, being a part of the Facebook group, you'll be able to ask questions. People will be able to offer you assistance and support based on previous experience. I mean, I'm a veteran cruiser. I mean, I do about 2 cruises a year. Um, and it's a great safe way to take that first cruise and
Yeah,
know that you're really not doing it on your own. That you've
right,
got other people who will be with you and look out for you too. Like, where is so and
right.
so?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't second that enough. Shelia and Jean are the master cruisers, right? And when I went on the cruise last year, I had never cruised before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a baby, and Shelia, you nailed it. Having having a group of people within the cruise felt very safe and it felt very wonderful. I think the entire time I was on the ship, I met one person who was a little bit of a curmudgeon, and everybody else was just so happy to be there, whether they were in our group or not in our group. But having that group within a group and
Mm-hmm.
having some expert cruisers on there, it
Mm-hmm.
was even the little things like, hey, close your blinds before you come into port at night. Hey, did you come and get this free thing with me? Come on, we're going to get this free thing. We're going to go do this fun activity.
Mm-hmm.
Having people to kind of guide you around and show you
hmm,
how to cruise the best cruise you can was
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
so great. And
Yeah.
we also talked about stitching the whole time with each other. So we immediately had things in
yeah.
common. It
It's
Yes.
was
like,
perfect. It was
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. We try to check all those boxes.
It
Yes.
does. It did.
Yeah. Speaking of first time cruisers, and EJ, I feel like I'm ignoring you here, and I don't mean to. What's your cruise experience?
I've been to one cruise, Norwegian,
Okay.
and many moons ago, but it was fun, and I'm ready for another one.
Okay, well, good. All right.
Yeah.
So some of what I'm going to tell you will be different for celebrity and for our group. Um, what's included in your fare. So when you look at the website and you see the fare listed for Stitcher Maker or non-Stitcher Maker, basically includes everything. My first cruise, I spent $14 on the ship, and that was to buy a Christmas ornament as a memento. All of your food, all of your snacks
Mm-hmm.
now are all included. There are some places that you can spend extra money on food and beverages, but they are far, far, far from needed, especially if you're a new cruiser. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are included. We also, as a group, include gratuities, and this is one of those hidden costs that when you compare apples to oranges, sometimes you look at the cost of a cruise and they will not mention gratuities, but they are mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
We've already figured those into our fares.
Mm-hmm.
We also include a drinks package. And
Mm-hmm.
although you might automatically think of drinks with little umbrellas on them, and there's no reason not to, this package also includes bottled water. So like I'm trying to do my 64 ounces of water a day. And so that's really nice. Sodas, if you drink sodas,
Mm-hmm.
that's an add-on cost with most cruises. That is included in our fare. Specialty coffees are included. Um, wine and mixed drinks up to a certain level are included. And then like one night there was a wine that appealed to me, and it was above and beyond what our drinks package included, but I didn't have to pay that flat amount. They subtracted out what my drinks package included, and I only had to pay the difference, just a couple of dollars more, for me to be able to try a wine that I was not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
So these are nice. One of the other things that's included that people don't think about is all the entertainment. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, every night there are movies, there's live music, there's trivia games,
Mm-hmm.
and in the theater there are big time shows. We
Mm-hmm.
saw a Beatles rendition that was absolutely incredible.
I'm excited.
Magic shows,
So good,
comedians.
Sheila. EJ,
There was
so
a
good.
Las Vegas review. There was that thing that was almost like a Cirque du Soleil with people wrapped up and hanging
The
and
silks. They did the aerial silks.
all kinds of
Yep.
stuff. Doing things with their body that I didn't know were humanly possible. Okay. So there's that quality show every single night. So when you look at the price, I mean, it's very easy to get sticker shock. But if you added up hotel, breakfast, lunch, dinner, tips, entertainment, a glass of wine. And when we say meals, appetizer, main dish, dessert, all included. So, so you can see why on my first cruise, I literally spent $14 on the entire cruise.
Mhm.
Once I had paid my cruise fare.
Yeah.
And Jean, we also have the basic Wi-Fi package, correct?
Yes, and we also included the basic
Yep.
Wi-Fi package. So again, when you look at cruise fares online, they often do not include taxes and port fees. All of that is included in our fares.
Right.
The other thing that's included will be these classes, demonstrations, which we have not talked about specifically.
Just
Maybe
hinted
this is,
at-
go ahead.
we just hinted at it.
This is where I think we'll have a big splashy word that says reveal.
Yeah.
Reveal on the ship. So you won't know, other than the fact that if you watch my channel, you know what my style is, you know the kinds of things I like. Same thing with Michelle, same thing with Sunshine Stitchers. So you'll get a variety of things. And that cost is already included in your fare,
Mhm.
as well as a cruise sampler, which I will design. 2024, I used a Jimmy Buffett lyric, and I'm going to have to really work on topping that one. I don't know if I'm
It
going to be
was
able
good.
to.
It
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah. So there'll be a cruise sampler that you'll get the chart, the fabric, the floss, needle, all that. I think we did a pretty good job with swag.
Our swag bags were
2024.
great. There's a couple of, if you're interested in a recap video, I know there's a couple of recap videos. Um, Mine will be posting somewhere around the 8th of February. Kim, Crafty Teacher DIYs, she was on the cruise. Her cruise recap video is already up. Miriam of Marumi Designs plans to film one, and I'm trying to get Megan of Long Distance Stitchers to also film one. So you'll be able to get a little inside scoop. Also, Jess, Critter Stitcher, she hasn't filmed a Flosstube in a really long while, but she said she might make her re-debut with a recap of
good.
Flosstube at Sea.
Oh,
Good.
So we're trying to get her to do that too. So there will be a little bit of an idea out there of what
Right.
last year's cruise was like.
Let's link those floss
Down
tubes.
below.
Yeah. Okay, so what's not included? Our group excursion to St. Kitts will not be included in their fare. I can't say what that price will be. I expect it to be $100 or less, but if it ends up being 110, don't come after me.
Worth it either way.
Yeah, because we're gonna be adding some other features to what we did in 2024. That's why I'm expecting it to go up some.
Mhm.
Any other excursions you do in Tortola or in Dominican Republic, of course, will not be included. And
And to put that in perspective, my beach excursion, it was like $38.
Mhm.
And
right,
for
Mhm.
me, well worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
Totally.
yeah,
Totally.
and your cruise excursions can range from $38 to $380. I mean, it
Absolutely.
all depends. You hire a helicopter to drop you into a lagoon for a private snorkeling lesson, you're
That
going
will
to
not
pay
be
more for it.
$38.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Than $38.
No.
okay, comparing and contrast to a land-based retreat. And we're not knocking land-based retreats. I mean, I've been to some wonderful retreats and hotels, and I certainly expected to go to more. So we really kind of want to do sort of your Venn diagram of comparing hotel type retreats or camps or whatever to this. Big thing is that this is 7 days.
Mhm.
The big thing is we're getting to visit other countries. That's
Yes,
huge.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you're getting to travel.
It's almost like after having done it last year, the way that I would compare it is because we have 3 sea days, it really is like you're getting your land-based retreat because they're generally about 3 days. And
Yeah.
you're in other countries in the Caribbean doing either doing nothing walking around, looking out the window, or zip lining or rum tasting or, doing really whatever you want.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's like the land-based retreat because we have that feature of the Stitcher Maker room for 3 days. We have it for 7 days, but we're heavy in there
Mhm.
for 3 days.
Mhm.
And then you get all the extra stuff included.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's great.
Yeah, and it's like going to a hotel retreat in a five-star hotel because the food is fabulous. And people who have food allergies are well taken care of.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, the service is just they are there to make us happy.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just the hospitality and the service, the pursuit of excellence. I mean, I just can't say enough about celebrity as far as what they offer. Um, but there's also all the onboard ship experiences.
Mm.
Every day there's a cruise planner that's in your room, or you can see it on your phone app. There might be an origami class. There might be a wine tasting, a behind the scenes ship tour.
Mhm.
All kinds of things going on. Most of them are free. Some of them do have a cost associated with them, but it's always very clear in the planner about what to expect. Now in the afternoon, like the class kind of stuff that we're doing will be in the morning, and then the afternoon we have fun and games. And we haven't the four of us. This is really the first time that we have kind of met as a foursome. So we've got some planning sessions ahead of us to decide exactly what we want to do.
Fun and games we will be having.
Yeah.
Smalls
2024,
exchange.
we had a smalls exchange.
Mhm.
That was fun.
And I don't know, Michelle, did you ever count how what there about like 40 people or so,
I think
maybe
there were
even
almost
50?
I think there were somewhere between 40 and 50. I didn't keep really close track. I was trying to concentrate. I wrote a list. You have a list. I think there's somewhere between 40 and 50.
Oh, that list is probably in the suitcase I haven't unpacked.
Could be.
I know. I am so bad at unpacking, and every time I go somewhere, I say, I'm going to get home, I'm going to unpack, I'm going to do my laundry.
Mm-mm.
Hasn't happened yet. So we did that the afternoon of the first day, first C day, and then we played floss bingo, which was a little different than what other people have done for floss bingo. And then we did a cross stitch trivia game. So we may or may not repeat those. I don't know whether we'll do those or do something else. We'll see.
I'm expecting all new ideas from EJ and Shelia. Because everybody has their favorite games that you play at retreat, right? Like there's always this one super fun thing. So I'm excited to hear what y'all love.
My teacher hat and start thinking of different
That's right.
games.
Activities.
Yes. The other thing too that I want to say is this is definitely a hosted cruise. I am not selling you a ticket and then saying bye, I'll see you in 7 days. The four of us consider ourselves hosts. We will be in the stitching room. At least one of us, if not more, will be in the stitching room every day. We're there to enjoy the fun and games and to get to know people. This ship has four themed restaurants rather than one large main dining room. So we'll probably do what we did in 2024, and that's to divide the big group into three smaller groups. And then you will dine with that group of people every night if you choose to eat in the main dining room.
And that was a lot of
Um,
fun. Everybody, we all sat together in an area of the dining room, but everybody kind of ended up at different tables every night. So you were sitting with the same people, but different individuals each
Mhm.
time. And
Mhm.
I have group chats now with some of the people that I sat with that I didn't know before the cruise. But
Mhm.
now we have a group chat because I
Mhm.
sat with them at dinner a couple times.
Mhm.
It's
right.
great.
That reminds me of another thing is that we don't assign tables in the big stitching room.
Correct.
And
Mhm.
again, you might be used to that, like I'm table 8, I'm table 32. We decided early on, and I think it worked,
It did.
that with a 7-day cruise, that you had the opportunity to meet a lot of different people. So rather than sitting with the same 7 or 8 people every day for 7 days, that by not assigning seats, then people would get up and move around.
Mhm.
And so that's the other thing that's different. Now, that also means that the tradition that has kind of come about in the last 5 or 6 years of doing table gifts doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I've been kind of brainstorming with myself, it's not a very effective way to brainstorm.
I was like,
Or is it the most effective way to brainstorm?
And I can't say I always agree with myself. That's that's why I need to brainstorm with other people. I have an idea of a workaround for that, which the four of us will discuss before we make it public. And also the tradition of bringing food to share with your table. Forget it. You do not need to bring food onto a cruise ship.
No.
There's like plenty of food to go around.
And the other thing that we should say about the Stitcher Maker room is that we are in that room from about 7 a.m. until 11 p.m., but the room is not locked at night. So it was a little bit, it was different from a land-based retreat in that the room is generally locked at night and you can leave all your things. Here on the Flosstube at Sea cruise, you will want to be able to pack up all of your stitching stuff and take it back to your cabin with you at night. And at first, that was a little bit humbug for me because I don't like to carry my stuff around. I'm a little bit lazy. But then I realized that by packing up all my stuff every night and leaving the room, then when I came back the next day, it's like I automatically got all new table mates because I would just put my stuff down in a different spot.
Mhm.
And that was part of, I think, the beauty of this is that I was constantly surrounded by the same people, but different
Mhm.
individuals.
Mhm.
So it was really nice.
Mhm. And there's a gazillion other places on the ship to stitch as well.
Mhm.
There's some people that wanted to go and stitch by the pool, or they wanted to stitch. There's a beautiful outdoor garden that's, you're not necessarily in the direct sunlight, but you're out there in the fresh air. And I found that, again, I have no statistics to back this up, but my impression is that as the cruise went on, the number of people always in the stitching room kind of started dwindling. And that
Mhm.
wasn't because they weren't interested. It's because they made these friendships, and
Mhm.
maybe 4 or 5 people would get together and say, I'm going to go stitch in Eden, or I'm going to go stitch on such and such a deck outside,
Mhm.
or let's go to the hot tub.
Mhm. Mhm.
So there are so many other activities available on the ship. And I was really glad to see people out there and enjoying it and not feeling like that's the only place to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice to, like I said before, you have that home base, you can always come back to it, but you
Yeah.
absolutely don't have to be there.
Yep.
And there somebody will be there.
Yes. Yep.
We had very distinctive lanyards, so we could always pick each other out. So
Right.
it was,
Yeah. So one of the funny things that happened on this cruise was a person got on the elevator holding, for whatever reason, she had a stack of Q
Q-snap.
snaps that were not put together.
Mhm.
And so she kind of had them tucked under her arm. And a man turned to his wife on the elevator, not in our group, and he said to her, now we know what a floss tube is.
Oh.
Because he said those must be the floss tubes.
Yeah. Because they saw we all had lanyards that said floss tube at sea.
They knew us. They knew us by
Then,
the
oh
third
wait,
day.
then there were people who thought we were a dental hygienist group.
Because floss.
oh, hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So I would say that we were the talk of the ship.
I think
Yeah.
we were. I think we were a bit of a hit.
Yeah. So it lets each one of us be an ambassador for
Mhm.
stitching.
Mhm.
And we met a lot of people who were on the ship that were avid needleworkers that, of course, had no idea that Flosstube at Sea even existed.
Mhm.
We met a couple of people that were avid needleworkers who had never heard of Flosstube.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we acquainted them with that concept.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And
Welcome
that's
to
the other nice thing about stitching in other parts of the ship is that you get to meet other people that are not necessarily in our group. So at any rate, we're going to have a great time, and I hope that you will come along.
Mhm.
One thing we have not mentioned is how to become a part of this group.
Mhm.
On Saturday, February 24th at 11 o'clock Eastern time, registration will open for this cruise. Now, as cruise organizer, I had decided a long time ago that we were always just going to open registration to everybody at the same time. we certainly hope that we have a lot of people coming back that were with us in 2024, but we always want to make room for new people as well. So, you know, depending on what time zone you're in, set your alarm. We have never sold out a cruise on the first day. And I frankly don't remember how quickly the 2024 Flosstube at Sea cruise sold out, but it was pretty quick.
It was
And especially if there's a particular cabin type that you'd like to have and you know you're going to come, then I really encourage you to register.
Yeah, so talk now amongst your friends and your family members. Now is the time to have this conversation to let them know that, you know, you will not be available.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And
Or,
for
you
all
know, drag your friends. Let's
and
go.
for all those birthdays and anniversaries coming up, you might say, honey, you don't know what to give me? Contribute to this cruise.
I was just going to make the point that you have quite a bit of time to save, to make sure that you've got your cruise payment, your airfare if necessary, your pre-cruise hotel, and any spending money you might want. Because, you know, if folks are going to expect you to bring back souvenirs, you know, you come back from a 7-day cruise and say, well, what, you know, what did you do? What did you bring me? I said, well, I stitched on this.
Right.
That might not fly.
But you know what? We had the highest percentage of spouses on this trip, significant others, than we've ever had on any of our cruises. In fact, so many that we actually had an event just for the men. So that they could get to know each other. So while their significant others were in the stitchery monkey room stitching and making stuff, they were entertaining each other. But something you just said reminded me, you will need a passport for this trip. So if you don't have a passport yet, now's the time to be starting that.
Yeah, the lead times can be lengthy. That is not something you want to wait to do at the last minute. It can take several months. Oh, sorry.
The cat.
Yeah, I've been.
Also, we have a group newsletter that will only go out to the people on our cruise. And we have kind of honed that over the years, that instead of sending out a huge hunk of information one time, we do it in little bites, and we try to do it in a timely manner so that you're getting information when you need it. And so you'll be a part of that automatically. But also I want to mention, and it does tell you this on the website, we do have a $300 non-refundable deposit. We also encourage people to get trip insurance. So when I say non-refundable deposit, I mean that. We have never made an exception because we feel like it's pretty clear. But use all those Facebook groups that you're a member of, and put the word out there that you want to come on this cruise. Like EJ said, do it now, do it early. Include a link back to our website so people will have the prices, you know, at their fingertips. And if it's somebody that you don't know, do spend some time getting to know them before you commit to being their cabin mate. But I've seen some incredible friendships blossom over the years with people who met in that way and just found a travel buddy that they just, you know, really enjoy their company.
Yeah, I have met people on cruises and have subsequently cruised on the same cruise with them again, and it's great.
Yeah, sort of old home week.
Yeah.
So yeah. So EJ, we're going to be looking forward to introducing you to Celebrity.
Yes.
To the whole Flosstube experience.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I already spoke to my principal. I'm like, listen.
Me too. I let my boss know.
Yeah, next year.
I will not be here.
Be ready.
Yeah. Yep. We're going to do this thing, and it's going to be wonderful.
We will. Lots of fun.
So Flosstube at Sea 2025 is coming your way. So like I said, mark your calendar for February 24th, 2024 is when registration opens for this 2025 adventure. So
11 p.m.
there she comes again. All right. We'll see you on the ship.
Okay,
Okay.
yay.
Bye.